and welcome to the President's Podcast, right here on the record with the Ohio Senate. The views the news excludes. I'm your host, the Director of Communication for the Majority Caucus in the Senate, the Republican Caucus. I'm John Fortney. And the newest member of the Ohio Senate, State Senator Brine Chavez, who is joining us from Washington County, Ohio. He represents the 30th District. Now, you have quite the background. Tell us a little bit about, you're in the oil and gas industry right now.
The vertical wells, it was started by my in-laws over 40 years ago, and they gave us an opportunity to move here and be a part of the family business. And we moved here and turned a mom and pop organization into a small business, into a larger business. Natural gas and oil is actually the original green energy, called hydraulic fracturing. So that is pumping water, sand, and soap and biocide. But it's not bad. I mean, it's the hand soap that we all wash our hands with every time we get ready to cook dinner. So when you extract this fluid back out, it brings the oil, the gas, and the ancient seawater that was trapped underneath there. So you take off the oil, you take off the gas, and then you're left with this ancient seawater. And to do that, you use what is now called fracking fluid. But here, it's nothing fancy, nothing scary. And so when they say that this is undisclosed chemicals, it's just the different soaps that people are using. So when people are saying toxic radioactive waste, that's not true. Radioactivity, bananas are radioactive. People are radioactive. You're all getting radiation from the people around you. When you're outside, you're getting cosmic radiation. Our granite countertops are radioactive. The banana stand at Giant Eagle is radioactive. It doesn't mean that we're bringing in this toxic, chemical that nobody knows anything about.
My name is Sandra Steingraber. I'm a PhD biologist and I work as a senior scientist at the Science and Environmental Health Network. I'm also a co-founder of Concerned Health Professionals of New York. Importantly, regulations cannot stop radioactive emissions from fracking operations. The deep earth is full of radioactivity, especially in eastern Ohio. Radioactive elements commonly found in shale formations are released during the process of drilling and fracking. They're released from the wells and they can accumulate in tubes, pipes, and equipment at fracking sites known to cause health risks. Studies, once again from Ohio, show elevated levels of radon and elevated levels of radium in fracking wastewater.
Also known in the western part of the U.S. as just salt water or water. Now, these are very deceptive terms. And as you'll see, despite these innocent names, brine is filled with toxic levels of salt, really highly elevated levels of salt, volatile organics such as the carcinogen benzene, heavy metals like lead and arsenic, and then also elevated levels of radium, which is a radioactive heavy metal. These trucks, and this is a photo from a worker right before a well comes online, and this is a unconventional well, a fracked well. And recall, fracking involves copious amounts of water mixed with chemicals, mixed with often sand as a proppant. It's injected down into the earth, and then the intention is to crack open these difficult to access layers such as black shale. Radium is really one of the important ones because it's moderately soluble. It flows with water. We have the history of the radium girls, and EPA has a safe drinking water limit for radium. They're looking at the two primary forms of concern or isotopes, radium-226 and radium-228, in the drinking water limit, and it's 5 picocuries per liter. Now, you don't have to go too much above that to actually meet EPA's definition of radioactive waste. Because, we can say, oh, there's some radioactivity in brine. Well, is it radioactive waste? Well, yes, by EPA's definition, it absolutely is, because you see below the average levels in the Marcellus, there we have average level of radium-226 in the Marcellus, average 8,344 picocuries per liter, average level of radium-228. Radium-226 is often higher in many formations, 986. You add those together, the average radium levels in Marcellus brine are 9,330. This is according to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection's own reports, their own data, can be as high as 28,500. And again, 60 is the limit at which EPA defines radioactive waste. So going back to this photo, these trucks are all, this is the Marcellus. Nowhere is the radium, according to the Department of Environmental Protection in Pennsylvania's data, lower than 60. These trucks are all inherently carrying radioactive waste, and yet none of them will be labeled to indicate that. And
we're going to keep saying the truth, and I'm glad that we have an expert now in the industry in the Senate who can talk about these.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.